Welcome to the first round of the FIM World Supercross Championship for the year 2000, and we are back in the Stade de France. It's the third year we've had the Stade de France opening the show, the first year that the rain's held off. So we've got 45,000 happy, dry fans within the Stade de France, a 700-metre circuit which for the first time goes smack bang across the middle of this magnificent arena. I'm Jack Bernicle, this is David Bielman, winner in the Stade de France for the last 2 years when it was wet. Is there a possibility of a hat-trick for the starry-eyed Frenchman now that it's dry? And this is what it looks like from on top his factory USA Yamaha. Bielman, incidentally, turned 23 years old last Thursday. And because he's had a problem with his visa, that's the climb up, incidentally, into the stands and the drop back down. Wow, that looks awesome from where he is on top of that Yamaha. Yamaha America rate their French factory flyer so highly that because David Bielman hadn't been able to sort out his visa in time, they came over to test their machinery at Marseille with David last week. So Bielman, an absolute superstar, the man who ran Jeremy Mcgrath all the way through the American Supercross Championship Series. This is the man who won his 7th American 250cc Supercross Championship riding Chaparral Yamaha. The question is whether this guy, David Bielman, can beat him here once again in the Stade de France. Bielman, of course, his first full year in the States. Number 5 on the Factory Connection 250cc Honda is Mike Larocco. Larocco taking on the likes of Josh Cobbins and Greg Albertine on Suzuki, Johnny Aubert on Yamaha, Grant Langston, 125cc world champ on KTM. This is the semi-final starting list. Bielman, Larocco, Cobbins, Thierry Bettis, who is leading the current French 250cc Supercross Championship at the age of 29, and he is, of course, the defending 250cc French Supercross champ. Larocco now 29 years old from La Porte in Indiana. A real hometown boy, still lives in Indiana. And has finished third in the US Supercross Championship this year behind Mcgrath and Bielman. But France expects, of course. Incidentally, we're missing 1 or 2 people here that we expected to see, and just listen to the reasons why. Clock this: Sebastian Tortelli, double world champion and now a star of Honda USA, is competing this weekend, the last round of the Japanese Motocross Championship on the 4-stroke factory 500cc Honda. How's about that for news? Number 1, David Bielman, centre stage here in the Stade de France for the first semi-final, having won his opening heat, beating Larocco and Greg Albertine. And here they go, the dash for the first turn, and it's Bielman who gets there first. The customary chaos for those behind. Cobbins is in there and Larocco comes through. Mike the Rocket Larocco. But the crowd's cheers tell you that David Bielman, the long, lanky 6'2" Frenchman, is at the front. And it's Josh Cobbins in second place. The 23-year-old Kiwi on that factory Alstara Corona Suzuki, third in the 250cc Motocross Grand Prix season. But he's been overtaken by Mike Larocco. Larocco, of course, despite the fact that the Kiwi is a former New Zealand champion, he doesn't get the practice at the indoor stuff that he would like to. That's great, sort of Aston Villa or West Ham United colours that David Bielman's sporting tonight, whichever you'd prefer to call them. Larocco is second, and third place is Joaquim Rodriguez, Portuguese rider. Now, there's a bit of a surprise package. 4th, Cobbins. 5th, Thierry Bettis. 7th place for Rodrigue Tang, who of course has been campaigning on 125cc KTM in the States this season. So Joaquim Rodriguez, number 147. He's riding a Honda, and he's obviously got the sort of skill that the Portuguese football team was demonstrating when it was playing in the Euro 2000 football championships. Bielman looking unstoppable, absolutely spot on. Bielman had to settle for 3rd place in the outdoor French, American 250cc National Series, behind his French colleague at Honda, Sebastian Tortelli, and of course the winner, Ricky Carmichael. Miliband, 2 laps completed. Larocco second, almost 4 seconds behind. Joachim Rodrigo still holding 3rd place. Betis through to 4th. Fabio Balducci 5th, 6th place Pierre Paget. So it looks as if Josh Cobbins... Oh, Josh Cobbins is in there. Josh Cobbins, according to me, is right in there in 4th place. But that's plenty good enough to qualify. You don't have to race any harder than that, just to stay sat neatly in there. Flick a tear off. The ground in perfect condition here. This is absolutely terrific after the torrential rain that we've endured for the last 2 years here in the Stade de France, and still attracting between 45 and 55,000 fans. It's great to see a real Supercross race in the dry conditions that they should be held in. It's a beautiful sunny day. It's been a beautiful sunny day all day in France, so it's great to see this sort of action on a dry track. Josh Cobbins then holding a solid 4th place. The first 8 riders go through from the semi-final direct to the final. Anybody finishing outside of 8th place has to go through the repechage. 4 guys from the repechage, the last chance, go through into the final. And this is the Portuguese guy. Well, Portugal and Spain have been getting, their kids have been getting quite a lot of attention from the great Harry Everts, Stefan Everts' dad, himself a 4-time world champion. He's been training a lot of their kids for a few years now, and you can see that it's having some effect, because they're beginning to come through, aren't they? We've had Spanish lads beginning to shine, and this is the first Portuguese guy we've really got a glimpse of on the international stage. He rides a bit like Harry as well. Number 24, Thierry Boom Boom Betis. How long has a 29-year-old Frenchman been in the action? A good deal longer than this kid, Joachim Rodriguez. Rodrigo solidly placed in 3rd place. And now we have a sort of semi-pancake from number 35, Pierre Paget, who some of you may remember was actually an extremely muddy but very happy podium man at the last 250cc Grand Prix of the year at Roggenburg in Switzerland. Far and away his best result of his career. And Josh Cobbins is slipping back outside the top 6. He's back to 7th place, something of a surprise. I wouldn't expect, unless Josh has got some sort of problem. In fact, back to 9th place. He slipped behind Balducci and Nicolas Cailly, so he's got a bit of work to do. This guy, the only work he's got to do is concentrate for 10 laps and not make any mistakes. Look at the length of those legs. He almost rides pillion for himself, doesn't he, at times? He hangs that backside so far back over the rear end. He just breaks all the style rules, but he's so loose and comfortable on a motorcycle. And as Jeremy Mcgrath has grudgingly said, he's a smart rider, and he's going to present Mcgrath with even more problems in the year 2001 than he did this year, because this year, of course, he was a rookie on the scene. And Mcgrath has been dealing with these guys like Mike Larocco for a long, long time, and he knows that he's got the beating of him. And the 29-year-old now, Michael Allen Larocco, rides the Factory Connection Honda. He turned professional in 1988 off the back of being the amateur 250cc champion in the States in 1987. And he was 7th in the 125cc National Championship in the US that year. 1989, 2nd in the 125 West Coast Supercross Series. 1990, 3rd in the 250 Nationals for Suzuki. Runner-up in the 250cc US Motocross Grand Prix at Unadilla that year. But his best year, undoubtedly, was 1993 when he won his first national title, the 250cc. At 1993, the first national title was he was the last ever American 500cc champion outdoors before they simply closed down their 500 class, which is unfortunate for Larocco. He likes his big bikes. And he was 2nd in the 250 Nationals that year to Mike Kadowski. And the following year, 1994, 250cc national champion, King of Bercy, 2nd in the 250cc Supercross Series behind Jeremy Mcgrath, with 3 wins to his credit. That's number 5, Mike Larocco on the Factory Connection Honda. Incidentally, Larocco will have as a teammate next year the 17-year-old French kid Steve Boniface is another Frenchman emigrating to the States with his dad Patrick to keep a fatherly eye on him, and he's racing in the 125 class for that Factory Connection semi-factory Honda squad. Boniface, incidentally, is lying in 4th place currently in the French 125cc Supercross Championships. Some of the guys are beginning to come under the hammer as Windham prepares to lap guys like Eric Sorby, number 48. Now, Sorby's not having a very happy ride at all. Sorby currently leads the 125cc French Supercross Championship. So that number 48, who's just been passed by Windham, obviously not finding life quite as comfortable on a 250. Windham, he of course spirited. Oh, what? That's a nasty looking accident. I think that might be Balducci who's down there. Yes, it's Fabio Balducci, but he's just given his chin a bang, I think. I don't think he's quite, he's just seeing a few stars, but he's not quite as uncomfortable as it looks. Well, I'm sure that Fabio would disagree with us there. Number 40, Michele Monti, his fellow Italian, comes under the Windham Cobra gaze. And the guys who've qualified so far, Baptiste Tang, Pierrick Paget, Dick Turpin, Josh Cobbins through into 8th place, and Daniel Obelisco, a regular on the 250cc and Supercross and freestyle jumping scene here, is not in at the moment. Top 8 go through. David Windham, a guy who was first a Supercross champion back in 1996, 125cc French Supercross champ, and also the Prince of Bercy that year in 125cc class. I remember that night, those 3 nights very well. Incidentally, in a week's time, we'll be bringing you highlights of Paris-Bercy a week tomorrow, right here on Eurosport. Don't miss it, best show of the year. We're also got a treat for you next month, and that is highlights from the US Open of Motocross at the MGM Hilton in Las Vegas. 1996 also saw David Windham as the European Supercross champion for Yamaha. In fact, he's been Yamaha almost as long as I can remember. He was 125cc French Supercross champion in 1997 and European Supercross champion again. French 250cc Supercross champ in 1998. Second in the 250cc World Championship. And then King of Bercy last year and 250cc and defending World Supercross champion. So as regards the indoors, he's done pretty well outdoors as well, remember. Runner-up in the World 125cc Grand Prix, and look at him. A bit of a heel clicker. Always been a speciality of his when he's enjoying celebrating victory. No pressure at all on David Windham at the moment. And the Cobra shows his fangs in the first semi, follows up his heat win with a clear victory in the semi-final. Behind him, Mike Larocco, Joaquim Rodriguez hanging in there for an impressive 3rd place ahead of Thierry Bettis, who's currently very effectively defending his French 250cc Supercross championship. Just look at the clear head on that guy. He could almost brew himself a cup of tea while he's airborne, couldn't he, if you gave him the utensils. Just so relaxed. And behind him, 5th place Rodrigue Tang on KTM, 6th place Pierrick Paget, 7th place Josh Cobbins makes his way through to 7th place, having repassed Vincent Turpin, Dick Turpin to you and me, and the rest of them will have to go into the last chance. So we're ready for the action to hot up even further here in the Stade de France. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Stade de France and our first sighting of the great Jeremy Mcgrath, 7 times American Supercross champion. Jeremy Showtime Mcgrath on his Mazda Chaparral Yamaha. He's going to be running his own completely independent team in America next year, out of his own independent big rig. What can he do about Mikhail Pichon, Suzuki, having his first race since having his injured shoulder operated on the shoulder he damaged so badly that it cost him the 250cc World Championship this year. And notice the Red Bull Yamaha of our own Warren Edwards is in this second semi-final. We've also got Greg Albertine, we've got Grant Langston, his successor 8 years on as 125cc World Champion, also of course out of South Africa. Albertine almost on the point of retirement from the sport that he has graced so wonderfully for so long. And Albertine, Albie's in the lead, the 1992 125, 93 and 94 250cc World Champ before he headed off to the States, where his injuries plagued his career until last year he finally nailed the 250cc outdoor motocross series for Suzuki. And everybody was overjoyed. And look at him, Greg at the front. Remember, his final year in motocross this year was blighted when he broke his thigh in a Supercross race earlier this year, but he came back fighting amazingly, recovered in time to contest and defend that 250cc National Championship crown. Well, it was hardly surprising he didn't succeed in doing that. But the wonderful, smiling, relaxed Greg Albertine will really be missed. Roger De Costa has looked after him well at Suzuki, and it looks as if there's going to be place for him with Suzuki to help out their new signing, Kevin Windham, for 2001. In second place, I thought for a moment in second place that we had that man Jeremy Mcgrath, but in fact we've got number 10, Grant Langston, World 125 champion, pestered by 250cc champion-elect Michael Pichon. Pichon was really reluctant to ride the Supercross series because of course he hasn't ridden Supercross since he was 4th in the States last year for American Honda before they fired him, and he came back to Europe. So he's going to be pretty rusty. His technique is going to be pretty rusty, and the fact that he's recovering from injury. Be interesting to see what happens. Grant Langston, just 18 years old. And you can see number 3, Jeremy Mcgrath. We just caught a glimpse of him in the background there. Not such a good start for him, but he's beginning to make progress, as you would expect. And number 9's in there, that's Johnny Aubert, riding Yamaha, having changed over from Husqvarna. Johnny Aubert, nephew of Jean-Jacques Bruno, former great Grand Prix racer from France. But he's just lost that 4th place to Jeremy Mcgrath. Mcgrath slots through on the inside of the hairpin. Albertine coming up with pressure from the man he inspired, Grant Langston, who came across here determined to come to Europe and win a 125cc World Championship when he wore the number 10 plate, which is exactly what Greg Albertine did in 1992. Look how neat Mcgrath is. He, of course, no longer races outdoors, rests during the summer. Oh, and Grant Langston getting himself all sorts of shapes. The kid who is, of course, going off to race in the States next year. Grant Langston flying the KTM flag in the 125cc Nationals and 125cc Supercross Series next year. So really, the exodus to the States is still a big one. Michael Pichon, he reversed the trend by returning from America, where he'd spilled a bit of blood with Jeremy Mcgrath, so they don't want to get too close to one another. Mcgrath and Michael Pichon. Pichon, family man from Le Mans. Greg Albertine, Grant Langston. So South Africa leads, France leads America. 5th place France, 6th place Frederic Vial, former French champ. 7th place Marco Kovalainen, the Finnish rider. 10th place for Warren Edwards. Oh, and Langston's gone down big time. I thought he was looking ragged, and he's overcooked it. So Grant Langston goes out and goes down hard. The 125cc World Champ. Didn't mean that to happen. Oh, and look at Mcgrath getting alongside Michael Pichon, and Grant Langston taking a breather. And I think Mcgrath may have got through. Oh, but Pichon comes straight across and rather crudely just snatches the line off Mcgrath. Now, I think you can safely say Pichon is going to be right. This is only a semi, remember. They don't need to be doing this, but of course Pichon's in front of his home crowd, and you can tell by the noise they made at that move that they would like him to make a French 1-2. I beg your pardon, to get past Albertine perhaps, but at least get a Frenchman on the properly near the front of this semi. And if that means riding the snout off Jeremy Mcgrath, that's what he's determined to do. So Pichon who I thought had lost that second place to Mcgrath, has decided he wants to stay in second place. And Jeremy's got... Oh, and look at Pichon. Finding major airtime to get alongside and almost past Albertine. He's got the inside line. He's tried to force him wide, but Albi's not falling for that, or is he? Albi keeps the gas on, up the slope, back down. Best race we've had so far tonight. Wonderful stuff, these two. Oh, look at that. Pichon forces Albi out, and I think that's meant Mcgrath can come through as well. Albertine won't be too happy with that. Just let himself get pushed too far out. Pichon looks over his shoulder. Well, that's partly he's styling it, partly he's looking to see just where Mcgrath is, because he's ready to stuff him if needs be. He knows that he's not going to be on Mcgrath's pace. Having said that, of course, Mcgrath's a little bit ring rusty. He only made his return. He got beaten in Sheffield last weekend, remember, by our own Mike Brown, the 125cc British champion, Tennessee exile, who returns to the States riding for Pro Circuit Kawasaki next year. But Mike Brown won in Sheffield for Axo Honda to set up a grandstand finish with Jeremy Mcgrath at the Newcastle Arena next month. Don't miss it. Future West Promotions International Supercross Series. Mcgrath then, he'd won at Earls Court, beaten in Sheffield. He'd also lost when he made his return at Asego Seprio in the big outdoor international in Italy. So he won't be too happy to lose this semi to Pichon. But he wants to be careful the red mist doesn't go down. As I say, these two guys just don't like one another too much. I mean, I personally find them both very sweet guys, but obviously they've traded sins previous to now. Mcgrath's looking really cool, isn't he? He's just still got that beautiful style, just absolutely poised with his weight plumb in the middle of the bike. Just needs that extra little bit of aggression and race fitness to get himself up with Pichon. Mind you, Pichon's lacking that, isn't he? But Pichon's hanging on well. That injured shoulder must be healing well, but he's still looking for Mcgrath. He knows he's right there. Oh, Mcgrath's coming on him again. Surely he's got it this time. No, but Pichon, look at that. He responds by just hooking the throttle up a little bit further, hanging on a bit later up the slope. Again, looking round to see which side Mcgrath is of him as they're in mid-air. Albi will be in third place. Pichon definitely now riding to seize Mcgrath's lines. But this is only the 6th lap of 10. Can he hang on for another 4? The crowd, well, they won't know what to think here, because as in everywhere he rides globally, Jeremy Mcgrath is a huge hero in France, as he is in the States, as he is in Japan, as he is in Great Britain. Oh, and he was beautiful. He hopped it clean over one of the red straw bales then. But so the French will be half wanting Mcgrath to win, but perhaps 2/3 wanting this man, Michael Pichon, to hang on for another French victory in the second semi. Mcgrath's not going to give up on this one, is he? He's going to keep attacking Pichon all the way. Vial 4th, Kovalainen 5th, Oliveira 6th, 7th Guyard, 8th Darrell Atkins of New Zealand, 9th Nicolas Charlier, 10th Warren Edwards. Come on, Wal. 28-year-old Englishman from Kent. Warren Bunny Edwards, we could just see with him, just could do with seeing him a bit further up than that. He might have to go to the last chance. 2 laps to go then, for Michael Pichon versus Jeremy Mcgrath. This is what the lads at the pointed end of the business call a lemonade race. It doesn't mean anything at all whether you win it or not, but it's a matter of personal pride. And sometimes they just produce the best races of the lot. No championships at stake, just needle and aggro. Look at the way Mcgrath turns so tight into that left-hander. He just ejects himself over the straw bale on the inside coming out. Mcgrath, of course, a master of not spending too much time airborne. He wants that back wheel down on the deck and driving. But look at the way he ignores the ruts that are cut out through the whoops. He goes for the high lips and he still goes quick. The fans gathered here, 45,000 of them enjoying this battle. If anything, the cheers get louder as Mcgrath gets closer. into the last lap then. Has Showtime got anything to offer that can... Oh! And Michael Pichon, look, spending so much time looking over his shoulder, and nearly lost the line there. And the blue flag being frantically waved at one of the lappers. We don't want this battle to get spoiled. And he kindly gets out of the way. Oh, Mcgrath, I thought then, had it. But as he went for that severe inside line that he's made his own, Pichon took it instead. Mcgrath once again had to back off, and they're now 18.7 seconds ahead of Greg Albertine. This time Mcgrath tries the inside line, but he's not there soon enough. See how low his trajectory is across that triple. But I don't think it's going to be enough. Amazing. Oh, Pichon nearly pitched over the top. Oh, a near nosedive, but he's rescued it, and I think he's going to win it. Pichon, see that slow, deliberate fist as if to say, yes. I surprised myself and I delighted you guys out there. Michael Pichon, former double 125cc East Coast Supercross champion in his pro circuit Kawasaki days, makes a dramatic return to Supercross with a win in the semi-final at the Stade de France, the opening round of the World Supercross Championship. Michael Rocket Pichon. We have two rockets here tonight, Larocco and Pichon. For the moment, we'll grant that accolade to Michael. Well, I'm hoping that his heavily pregnant girlfriend will be well chuffed with that. They're expecting their first baby any moment now. It'll happen this week, so he's a very happy boy. Anyway, that may be what inspired him to hold Mcgrath at bay. Pichon always been highly regarded by Roger Da Costa at Suzuki, or even though he went off to Honda America, and it was Da Costa who told Sylvain Gabors to snatch the boy up when he came back over to Europe. So there's some of the guys who've qualified for the final, including Régis Oliveira, a good 5th place for that unknown Frenchman, 8th for Bruno Guyard, and 9th for Warren Edwards, just 3 seconds off qualification, so one will have to come out in the last chance. Let's hope he makes it then. Stay tuned for more action. Saint-Quentin, we want to see if David Villemain can beat Jeremy Mcgrath. The Cobra sorting himself out in preparation for the defence, of course, of his title. Up till now, everything has been irrelevant except for qualifying for this race. And, of course, what else would he be drinking but some French Vitel, or rather spitting it out. And this is the lineup, including the guys like Eric Sorby, the 125cc French Supercross champion-elect, who came through the repechage. They're the guys on the outside of the lineup. Michael Pichon, winner of the second semi, after... oh, he's got rocket on his helmet now as well. So we've got 2 rockets in this race, Mike Larocco and Michael Pichon, just to mix us up. Tension mounting. Jeremy Mcgrath, he's been here many, many times before. Now, this is Gary Semick's sticker. Gary Semick's a great American rider who came to Europe in the early 80s. Got as high as 7th in the World Championships, never got the factory backing that he wanted, and went back home and made a name for himself as a trainer. And he's one of Jeremy Mcgrath's right-hand men. You could check out his videos. Mind you, they might not make you like Jeremy Mcgrath. What about this kid, Rodriguez, Jochen Rodriguez? He came and rode the French 125cc Supercross Championship last year, this kid, and was very fast, but crashed and broke his wrist. However, he is the reigning Portuguese Supercross champion. That hardly comes as a surprise. Must be very difficult to concentrate on the job in hand when you've got... Look at those green Irish eyes. Jeremy Mcgrath, of course, second generation Irish, and a lot of Australian in there as well. Originally from virtual northern California, they're born near San Francisco, now living in Southern California. And of course, since 1993, he's only lost the American Supercross Championship once, when Jeff Emig beat him in 1997. And that was, of course, when Mcgrath had abandoned Honda and left them in the huff, gone off and joined Suzuki with virtually no time to prepare himself for the bike. And he still came within a handful of points of taking that championship. Since when he's been with Yamaha and the Yamaha Chaparral factory satellite team. That's what the French fans think of him.
À l'intérieur, 3 fois champion du monde. Il est numéro 8, mais pour beaucoup d'entre nous, il est sans doute numéro 1 ou 2, Greg Albertine. Le numéro 5,
Jeremy Mcgrath, of course, the record holder who's almost come the closest ever to a complete clean sweep of American Supercross race wins in a Supercross series. Incidentally, glancing back down the records, David Willemann, of course, the reigning champion. Robbie Reynard of Suzuki won the World Championship back in 1998. 1997, Damon Hoffman won it for Kawasaki. 1996, Jeff Emig, now retired, won it for Kawasaki. In 1995, it was Jeremy Mcgrath. And 1994, Mcgrath for Honda. 1995, Mcgrath for Honda. And before that, if you want to go back further, in 1993, Guy Cooper, Guy Airtime Cooper, how we miss him. He won it for Suzuki. And in 1992, the winner was Jeff Stanton, former 6-time American champion. There's a 2-time American champion, Mike Larocco. Those pale, unnervingly pale blue eyes of the 29-year-old focused calmly on the track ahead. The main event then, 20 laps. A test of fitness, stamina and skill. Who's going to be first out of the gate? The start is going to be important here. Mike Larocco will be looking to it. Greg Albertine coming close to the end of a glittering career. Can the South African get himself out of that inside gate and into that tight left-hander first? It would be a big help to him if he could. The dirt flies, and I think Albie's there. Albertine gets in there first. Can he hold on tight? No, it's Pichon. Yes, Albertine just holds the inside on, does he? Willemann tried to ride round the lot of him, and he does. What an extraordinary feat by David Willemann. What confidence to just railroad round the outside, and suddenly the other guys have got to play catch me up. And Mike Larocco is the only man who's also lapped this track in 1 minute 2 seconds. All the other guys' best laps have been 1 minute 3, 1 minute 4, up to 1 minute 6. So if they let Willemann escape at the front, it really could. They really might have to wave him bye-bye. The Cobra. Elbows down, head down, backside up, going for it. Albertine in second place. Already 3 seconds off him. Larocco is third, fourth Rodriguez, fifth Cobbins, and there must have been a coming together between, oh, would you believe it? There's been a coming together between Miguel Pichon and Jeremy Mcgrath. They've both gone down, and I think Mcgrath's got a bike problem as a result, as Greg Albertine comes under pressure from Mike Larocco. So one rocket's been downed, or has downed himself. Another rocket's challenging for second place. Oh, and doing it the highway right across the triple. And I don't somehow think that Greg Albertine will have any answer to Larocco's determination. He doesn't. Joaquim Rodriguez is there, and here's Mcgrath. Mcgrath's in trouble after that collision with Miguel Pichon. Well, I said there was bad blood between them. I didn't want it to end like that. Larocco soaring across the triple at the bottom of the hill, whereas Greg Albertine is deciding to discretion is the better part of valour, and Mcgrath explaining what's happened to his bemused crew. And it looks like the collision and the aftermath of the collision has damaged that Chaparral Yamaha. So a huge disappointment for the crowd, because it means David Willemann has gone clear away at the front. Mike Larocco, a great American racer, but I shouldn't think he's good enough to deal with David Willemann round this track. And Jeremy Mcgrath can only stop and look on in stunned disbelief. Josh Cobbins fifth. Rodrigue Tang, off his debut year on the 125 KTM in the States, is in sixth place. Pierre Paget, seventh. Nick Charlier, eighth. Thierry Bettis, ninth. Greg Albertine having to hold off that Portuguese Supercross champion. So there we are, a former world champion and a former US national motocross champ versus a new kid on the block from Portugal. Albertine, a man who graced the Grand Prix scene, and I really mean graced the Grand Prix scene, because he just brought a whole new camaraderie to the Grand Prix pits in the early 90s. His very relaxed, laid-back, comfortable manner, friendly with absolutely everybody, whether they were rivals or whether they were just chums who couldn't possibly match his outrageous talent. He just got on with the lot. It's probably a good idea, actually. I remember Graham Noyce telling me that was the way that he used to work things. Stay friends with everybody, he said, because when they're out on the track and you're coming up to lap them, they could just serve you a good hand when you need it. Regis Oliveira is in 7th place. He's a young kid who's just suddenly starting to make his mark on the French national Supercross scene. And he's certainly proving his worth here at the Stade de France tonight. Oh, look at that. David Wilmang absolutely playing games. I love that up on the outside footbed trailing the inside leg scene. That is just really nice. So the man who owes his riding style to Neil Hudson, 1981 World 250cc motocross champion and absolutely Englishman. What a rider. Cool, smooth, all knees and elbows. So effective. And already getting in him on the lap is lapping Frederick Vial, a former 3rd placeman in the 125cc World Championships back in 1996 behind Sebastian Tortelli an hour off Paul Nalin. But not having a fun time of it tonight. 120, Rodrigue Tang. Rodrigue Tang showing signs of closing up on to the back of number 147, Joaquim Rodriguez. So Rodrigue Tang, the guy who's comes originally from Puisieux in the north of France, although he used to spend a lot of time training down in Montpellier in the deep south. Originally born in Arras. He'll be 22 years old in December. And he's chasing these two guys hard. Rodrigue Tang, of course, now with a complete season of indoor and outdoor racing behind him in the States for KTM. And he really is closing them down. Rodriguez, 147, number 120, Rodrigue Tang, KTM. Number 7, Josh Cobbins, Suzuki. Trying to close the gap. But right behind him, he's got number 24, Boom Boom Batiste. And there he goes, round the Portuguese rider, Rodrigue Tang. Pouring the coals on, moves through into 3rd place. 4th place, I beg your pardon. I was forgetting my right, Mike Larocco's in there. Pierre Paget is the man in between Batiste and Josh Cobbins. Oh, Pierre Paget going through the whoops like a motocrosser, elbows down, hanging on and gritting his teeth. Josh Cobbins, known as the Lizard. So we've got plenty of reptiles in here. David Cobra Vierman, the leader, of course. And Josh Lizard Cobbins, riding number 7. Nick Charlier still in there and thereabouts, the 23-year-old from Châlons-en-Champagne. Teammate of Alex Bellametti on the Platini Kawasaki squad in the 250 GPs this season. Josh Cobbins, head down, looking good. He's a neat, tidy rider. His style suits Supercross. And he has to keep that inside line because Pierre Paget, who doesn't look much of a Supercrosser at all, is really giving him a hard time. And they're both closing up on Rodriguez. Cobbins looking good. Rode his first Grand Prix, the 125cc Australian GP at Manjimup back in 1993, before heading as a teenager for European shores. Here he is attacking a European teenager, number 147, Joaquim Rodriguez. But what's he going out there for? Left the barn door open. Whoa, no, he doesn't. He closed it again straight away when he realised his mistake. And they're all coming up to lap Daniel Obelisco. Winner of the repechage, not able to translate that form. Mind you, having said that, his lap time was about 4 seconds. Oh, and Eric Sauvé stalled. He too being lapped, not enjoying life on a 250. Look at these guys. Cobbins 7, 35 Paget, 24 Boom Boom Batiste. The muscular Boom Boom Batiste. Been round a long, long time. And here he is, making that experience tell. There are not many people who win a French Supercross Championship and then win another one 10 years on. But Thierry Batiste has done just that. And here he is, hounding this trio of riders in front of him. Batiste, number 24, won his first French Supercross Championship, the 125 class, back in 1989, would you believe, as Josh Cobbins goes for the inside of Joaquim Rodriguez and makes it stick. Boom Boom Batiste, European 125cc motocross champion as well back in 1989 when he was a kid. French 250cc champion, Supercross champion in 1996. And French 250 motocross champ in 98, French 250cc Supercross champion in 1999, and looks as if he will be again this year. And he's really forcing the issue now. He's past Paget, he's putting the pressure on the Portuguese champ. I mean, any French Supercross champion with a bit of dignity about him would want to finish in front of a Portuguese Supercross champion, I would suspect. Notwithstanding, Joaquim Rodriguez, having got the start, has been resisting well, but he can't resist him that time, as once again, the motocross wobble of Pierre Paget. So look at number 15, Michael Pichon, has been making progress all the time since that early collision, that first lap collision with Jeremy Mcgrath. But number 35, Paget, gets away from him, goes through into 7th place. Whips a tear off. Way better to do it than 30 feet up in the air. And Michael Pichon's not looking too committed, mind, but there again, it was this wasn't a series that he really wanted to ride. He was sort of slightly blackmailed into it by Action Group, who said that they wouldn't ban him from the 250cc motocross Grand Prix if after his accident and his father's punch-up with a medical official who was trying to attend to him trackside, if he agreed to ride the Supercross series. Well, that Supercross series actually, as he goes round Joaquim Rodriguez into 8th place. So Michael Pichon putting on a brave showing, considering this is his first race back since he had that shoulder sorted out. Michael Pichon then coming through. He's not going to make the top 6, but he could get a useful bag load of points. He's now in 8th place behind Paget, ahead of Rodriguez and Nick Charlier. We're going to take a quick break. We won't miss any of the action. Be back with you soon. Dry night in its 3rd edition, 3rd time lucky. But one man not enjoying the dry, hard conditions is Michael Pichon. He's in 8th place, but beginning to suffer with that shoulder that he got so badly dislocated in his crash in the Grand Prix series outdoors. And it looks like he's had enough. Michael Pichon gave the crowd what they wanted when he held off Jeremy Mcgrath in that dramatic semi-final, but he rides out of contention here and grants 8th place to Nick Charlier on the Platini Kawasaki. Well, what a disappointment for Michael Pichon, but he obviously needs a bit more rest for that time to recover. Meantime, his teammate Josh Cobbins hanging in there in 4th place for New Zealand, making it a Suzuki 3-4. But the man who's making it a Yamaha 1 and a big fat number 1 there on his back is the reigning World Supercross champ. And just look at him fly, and he's lapping Joaquim Rodriguez, and Rodriguez at the moment is in around 9th or 10th place, so that's pretty impressive. Windham now 9.3 seconds ahead of the hard man from Indiana, Mike Larocco. Mike Larocco, remember, never rode here last. Oh, I love the way that he slings that Yamaha into that berm into the right-hander. That is just magic stuff to watch. I could watch him riding that every lap on his own all day. David Villemain. That man, Mike Larocco, missed the Stade de France, of course, in the rain last year because his baggage had gone astray and he refused to ride without his knee braces because he's had so many knee problems in his long career. And without his all his proper togs with him, he refused any offers of assistance because he wanted to be everything to be his own gear if he was going to go out and compete safely. Number 27, Nick Charlier, riding in 8th place in the race, has just been lapped, so I think there's going to be rather an embarrassing number of people lapped in the end. This is Larocco, the man who missed that. He's been with O'Neill Clothing for donkey's years, hasn't he? He's been their #1 man for such a long time. Very, very much a homeboy. Started racing when he was 6 on a Honda 50. Long-time Kawasaki factory pilot. He too coming up to lap Joaquim Rodriguez. Still lives in Indiana. He's got a most beautiful wife. She really is. My heart melts whenever I set eyes on her. Right, Larocco, well, it's been, he had a long-time ankle injury that was troubled him throughout this year, really. Sustained it in the Supercross series, it nagged him throughout the Nationals outdoors, and it meant that he wasn't able to take up the offer of a berth in the Motocross de Nation team in Saint-Jean-d'Angely. He missed that epic win by the Americans, had to hand over his position to Ryan Hughes, and Rhino did the Americans proud, of course, with that last gasp first race win when the unlucky Englishman Jamie Dobbs, KTM, floundered on him in the last corner. Sort of action that you've seen all year long here on Eurosport. What I'm concerned about is you might not see round 2 from Italy, because there's the FIM and Action Group, the organisers of the World Supercross Championship, are not the FIM, I beg your pardon, the Italian Federation and Action Group are at loggerheads at the moment. So things aren't looking quite as they should. And the battle between number 120 Rodrigue Tang and number 7 Joshua Cobbins enlivening the closing stages here in the Stade de France. Josh Cobbins beginning to pester the 125cc star, the guy who was a Prince of Bercy on a 125 KTM last year in 1999, and it is bye-bye to French crowds before going off to the States. And also, of course, Rodrigue Tang won the French 125cc Supercross series last year. Went to the States hoping to do the same, but couldn't. And I think he might just have a bit of problems holding on to that 4th place on that orange KTM. But he's been riding well on the 250. Surrounded by guys who race 250s all the time. Dick Turpin down in 14th place ahead of Guyard. Eric Sorby just outside the points, and Pichon, we know, has pulled out. So Frédéric Vial, a former French Supercross champion, who is actually 2nd in the French Supercross series right now, the 250cc Supercross series. So I don't know why Frédéric race Vial is suffering so much here in the Stade de France. These two guys aren't, because Josh Cobbins is sniffing blood. He thinks that 4th place is there for the taking. He reckons that this 250 is wearing Rodrigue Tang out, and I think he might be right. And they're about to be lapped. This dueling duo are about to be lapped by David Villemain. Well, how embarrassing can you get? So David's virtually a minute ahead of these guys. You better not expect them to get out of the way too quickly, because they've got their own little war going on. The orange KTM, the yellow Suzuki, the blue American Yamaha. Well, I hope to, oh, look at Villemain go. Just shoots it across where there's a slight rut. Wonder why nobody else has been making use of that low line through the whoops. Villemain just decides to take it because it obviously offers him a smoother line. He splits up the warring pair. I hope he gets his visa sorted out in good time for his American Supercross Challenge next year, of course, where we're hoping that he's going to be able to take on Jeremy Mcgrath once more in another humdinger, having 3 times beaten the American legend in Supercross finals this year in the States. And of course, he's still a fantastic mud rider, but here he is proving that he can ride anything. His wins in the National Outdoor Series this year took place in horrendous conditions. I like his new riding gear as well. Nice bit of kit, David. Incidentally, you'll be pleased to know that David Villemain knows us here at Eurosport, because he watches and listens to the action here on Eurosport. We'll be bringing you the rest of the World Supercross Championship. We'll be bringing you, which finishes next month in Leipzig, of course, in Germany, the old German Democratic Republic. And we'll also be bringing you that highlights programme from Paris-Bercy a week tomorrow. Superb. Can't get over the way he squirts it round that backed right-hander. David Willemang, a man who has somehow remained enigmatic, confident, calm and assured, whether he's been winning championships or not. He really enjoys the race, he enjoys the battle, a bit like the new 16-year-old American star, Travis Pastrana, just loves being out there racing. Don't forget, you can also see the US Open of Supercross from Las Vegas here on Eurosport as well. And I reckon Greg Albertine's beginning to look over his shoulder because he senses that David Willemang is going to lap him. And when you've been a world champion, which was something that, of course, and I think Greg in turn is about to lap Yamaha's Vincent Turpin, number 30. So things are getting quite crowded around that spacious 700-metre circuit out here in front of 45,000 fans, who, of course, are preparing to celebrate another victory for David Willemang, because if David doesn't make any mistakes, this is going to be his third straight win in the 3 World Supercross events that we've had here at the Stade de France. Albertine just looks round and lets him go, as well he should. You'll always notice that guys who are used to racing at the front never get in the way of guys who lap them when they may not be getting used to being lapped, but they know that they have to get in the way when they are. So Willemang, listen to the cheers of the crowd. They're going to be with him, echoing in his, I was going to say echoing in his ears, clenched in his fist for the whole. And there's the trademark heel clicker. He and Kevin Windham long since perfected that as a way of celebrating victory. Just for a moment, our cameraman picks the wrong man going through the whoops, because it is that number 1, David Willemang, who nods his appreciation at being let through so that he can celebrate in further style his 3rd victory in the Stade de France, and a sound opening, of course, to the defence of his world title. But what he really wants is that US Championship, and that's going to be worth watching next year. Here he comes, up to the finish line. David Willemang takes the win for Yamaha US in the World Supercross Championship. Give me the high 5, I've done it again. The high 3, it's a hat-trick. David Willemang wins it. Mike Larocco, a well-run 2nd. And Greg Albertine takes a break from his final lap, because as he just got lapped, it meant that he could relax in this, the twilight of his career. Oh, watch this. David Willemang taking a lot on odd. He is. He's going for the Stefan Chambon stand-up wheelie. Give it to us, David. He's such a lovely guy as well. Oh, and there's someone who's just about to fall asleep.
Greg, 3rd overall in the Stade de France. Why do you want to retire at the end of the season?
Because if I had the desire to win, then I wouldn't need to retire. So 3rd is okay, but not good enough.
How was the track? It was a difficult race.
It was a fantastic track. I liked it. A little difficult to make passes, but you know, my Suzuki, Corona Suzuki, was running great, and all my sponsors, thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The lovely Greg Albertine, former
Maybe
triple
it's never
world
easy
champ.
to win a race, but this win was so impressive. You had a very good start, and then you make the lead easily.
Yeah, I got a top 3 start, and I could pass everybody on the first turn, like outside, and I could jump the triple. And you know, after that, I tried to ride fast. And you know, I'm here and happy to be back in France, and I feel very, very strong. And even if I don't have so much training, I feel very strong, and I want to ride because I had a lot of vacation, so that's good for me. You know, Yamaha did a good job for the bike, and Bridgestone Tire and Fox and Shark MS, City Boots, and all those guys just tries the best to put more on top.
3 wins in a row here in the Stade de France. It's so fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's a good record, and I'll be here next year for the first one.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
David Willemang, and of course he'll be back to defend his title, King of Bercy, and we'll be looking forward to enjoying that on Eurosport. So if you can't be at Bercy, you know that we'll have the action right here for you. So a tremendous performance for David Villemont. He's the man. He's so cool and calm, isn't he? Ice cool kid from the sticks, but that doesn't trouble him. And he says it's nice to be back in front of his home crowd, even though, and 45,000 of them as well. Another great turnout here in the Stade de France. David Villemont has been well received in the States, very well liked and popular over there. But there's nothing like winning in front of your home crowd. And there he is doing just that. Greg Albertine, a very gracious goodbye from him, and it's been really great having him around. He finishes third, 1 lap behind David Villemont and Mike Larocco, who was just 10 seconds off the pace. You know one thing with the 29-year-old Mike Larocco, he's never going to give up. Nick Charlier 8th, Regis Oliveira in 9th place, Joaquim Rodriguez a gallant 10th, the young Portuguese rider, a real star of the future, just holding on in front of Marko Kovalainen of Finland. Jeremy Mcgrath sadly goes out after 1 lap, but we'll be hoping for some more from him. And of course, we'll be seeing in action at Paris-Bercy, because he said that would be the place that he wanted to finish off his racing career. In the World Championship then, Villemont leads it on 20 points. Larocco second on 17, Albertine on 15, Cobbins 13, Tang 11. They're the main men in the championship. And we'll be looking forward to seeing which of them comes out on top at the next round. The question is, where will the next round be? It may be Italy, it may be Leipzig in Germany. We hope that the Italian Federation and Action Group can sort that little conundrum out pretty quickly. The dispute, incidentally, concerns the sighting of the Italian Motocross Grand Prix next year, and we have a provisional schedule, a provisional race calendar, 16 rounds for the Motocross GPs of the year 2001. At the moment, there isn't a round in Great Britain, even though there are 3 in Belgium. We sincerely hope there's a rethink on that one. Manufacturer's classification, Yamaha leads Honda, and in 3rd place, Suzuki. David Villemont, he is the winner. Mike Larocco in 2nd place, Greg Albertine of South Africa 3rd. So France beats Indiana, America, and South Africa via the USA. It's been a great night here in the Stade de France. Beautiful atmosphere as the fireworks go off and the guys celebrate with the champagne. I'm Jack Bernicle. It's been a wonderful evening here. I hope you've enjoyed the action as much as I have. And don't forget, at Paris-Bercy we have a roof on as well, so we definitely will be in the dry.